We have the longest game ever, the most troops on a board, the biggest damage in one hit, and a lot more crazy world records, starting with the longest game ever. Basically, we need to drag out every round 2 tiebreaker, and of course get to round number 5, and tiebreakers need to last the longest possible, which means our minis need to have the most HP during tiebreaker. And to do that, we need Mega Knight to 3 stars, so he has the most HP. And we need the battle healer to keep him at least close to full HP. And what's really important is that we need to have the exact same placement. So every round win comes down to the true red, true blue system, which simply means alternating round wins. So we can guarantee the game goes to round number 5. Just look at how long these tiebreakers are. It's so satisfying. And our result is 5 minutes and 19 seconds after a few tries. So the only thing that the tiebreaker broke was our world record. By the way, feel free to try to beat us in all of these world records and tell me on Discord or Twitter if you do. My Discord server and my Twitter account is linked in the description. Then we have the Furthest Lumberjack Super Throw. This was actually way simpler than I thought. I was thinking of stuff like using a shell tail and trapping minis and all that stuff, but turns out all we need is a fisherman. So the concept is just we use the Lumberjack's 3rd star, and I place my hero, which in this case is the Archer Queen, for the fisherman to pull. And if I place it in this position, the fisherman will pull him to the exact opposite corner of the board, and the Lumberjack will throw his potion there. My concern originally is that the Lumberjack will throw his potion at where the Archer Queen was before the fisherman pulled her, but turns out it works just fine. Then we have the biggest damage in one hit. This is, again, a pretty easy one. I used a level 10 monk on an electro tile, so he instantly charges his super, and I just have to place a level 3 Mega Knight with the block from the battle healer's 2nd star there. And then the monk just, it just one-shots him. That's 38 HP, gone. Imagine if this happens in a real battle. I feel bad for you if this really happens. By the way, if you have any other world record ideas, leave them in the comments and I might do it in a future video. Then we got the most effective Skeleton King Super. This was actually quite funny because I did this accidentally while I was attempting to do the most souls on a Skeleton King world record. By the way, I made an entire video on that because what happened there was crazy. I'll show you the video at the end of this one. That world record needed my Skeleton King to kill a lot of skeletons. And right here, the Skeleton King used his super against 8 enemies at once, utilizing his entire radius, which means this is the most useful Skeleton King super. Yeah, I know it's not very thrilling, but I just want to share this because I didn't do it intentionally. By the way, if you want to see another world record, hit this video to 120 likes. And last but certainly not least, we have the most troops on the board. Actually, we already beat this before and we got 41 troops. It is in the last world record video. I will leave the link to that in the description. But I believe that we can beat that. Especially because last time the witch can only spawn 3 skeletons with her 1st star, but now she can spawn 4, obviously. So we should get way better results. And we did. Just take a look at this. We can count the troops one by one here and we actually get 45, but that is actually not all. Because the witch spawns so many skeletons, a lot of them are just stacked onto one another. So in order to get the real number, we need to count how many times the witch casts their supers. So let's do that right now. So first, let's pause right here right now and count how many there are originally. So that is, that's 14. And our witch just spawned an extra 8. Well, it should be 8 because one of them probably stacked onto the witch itself. So that's 14 plus 8, so that's 22. And it just goes on, it's just healing everything. Okay, now so now the enemy's 2 witches and my 2 witches spawn as well. So that's 4 times 4 because there are 4 witches, which means that's plus 16. 22 plus 16 is, so that's already 38, which is quite shocking because it doesn't even fill the board. So that shows how many the skeletons are actually stacking onto one another instead of spreading out. So you can tell by that just how inaccurate it would be for us to actually count the skeletons one by one as we see on the screen. Let's go on. Alright, So the witches just spawned their skeletons again. All 4 witches did it at the same time, so that's another plus 16, which brings us to 54. That's way over the number of tiles on the board, but we still haven't filled the entire board yet. So let's go on. Alright, so close. That's another 8, that's another 8. Let's stop right there. So that's another 16, which gives us the number 70 already. Okay, our side just spawned, so that means that's another 8. That brings us to 78. Alright. And and the enemy 2 witches and our 2 witches spawn again, which add 16 to that, which brings us to 94. That's crazy. So that's another 4, another 4, another 4. That's plus another 12 there, which brings us to a grand total of 106. That is the accurate number of how many skeletons there are on that. Crazy to think that, like 100, that's way more than the number of tiles on the board, but that is the accurate number right there. And yeah, it just shows how many skeletons are actually stacking onto one another in that situation. Crazy. By the way, as promised, here is the video on the most souls on a skeleton king. Oh my god, that was such a stressful video. Just go watch. It was crazy.